This is literally the hottest month ever. And scientists are so sure about it that they made the declaration even before this month is over. The first 23 days of July averaged 62.51 degrees Fahrenheit around the world, and only an asteroid hitting the Earth or an impromptu ice age would stop it from setting the monthly record, according to the EU's Copernicus Climate Change Service and the World Meteorological Association. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres declared the era of global boiling has arrived. Alrighty then. Anyway, the ongoing heat wave has spurred President Biden to take more measures to protect workers in industries like agriculture and construction, where jobs can only be done outside. Yesterday, he asked the Department of Labor to issue a heat hazard alert, which would mandate heat-related protections under federal law. He also called for increased inspections of heat safety violations at farms and construction sites. Meanwhile, this weekend is going to be brutal. Dangerous extreme heat is currently covering more area than it has all summer, affecting more than half of the U.S. population as it moves to the East Coast and bears down on the I-95 corridor that we call home. I'm not looking forward to getting on the subway after this.
No, also, the heat is also affecting the studio. We're currently doing this podcast from what could be considered a sauna. The global boiling, I think, is almost good branding. Like, it really struck out to me, like, how intense this is. And it was interesting to learn heat kills more Americans annually than any other natural disaster. Yeah. It just isn't as, like, sexy as a hurricane, so to speak. But if you think that this doesn't affect you in some way, like, it is coming for us all. Asphalt in Arizona has got so hot that people are falling over, making a little contact with the asphalt for a few seconds. They're having to go to burn centers. So think of the heat coming off pickleball courts that are taking over. Is very dangerous. In the next half century, I'll give you some stats. In the next half century, it's projected that there will be at least 4,000 new spillover events where viruses go from animal to animal or animal to human because animals have to change their migration patterns because of heat. Not all of those end up being bad, but we've seen what COVID did to everyone. This only increases the chances of more events like that. 40% of today's cropland is facing severe droughts. Less food production means bowls at Chipotle go up in cost. That's going to affect you. Increasing heat, increasing wildfires. We've seen from Canada, the air coming to New York, affecting air quality all over. And then the IPCC estimates that more than 3 billion people today live in places that are highly vulnerable to climate change. The conservative estimate is there will be 100 million climate refugees by 2050. We see how refugee crises affect everyone. And then last one, Hurricane Sandy did about $50 billion in economic damage. They anticipate that there'll be a Hurricane Sandy-like event basically every 5 years. And this can affect the U.S. About over $100 billion annually going forward. So it hurts the economy as well. So not to bum everyone out, but
You just bummed the crap out of me, dude.
Can I save it?
Save it.
Okay, this is my thing. No one's coming to save us, but we will find a way forward. I think if you're a smart, ambitious, and caring person, there's probably nothing more cool to do than go work in climate tech, climate policy, go find a way to make a change. Because one, you'll do amazing things for the world, but two, Chamath Palihapitiya said the first trillionaire will actually work in climate technology. So even if you just want to get the bag, there is a bag to be gotten here.
I think so. Kyle, you just inspired a new generation of climate change tech workers. One thing I want to touch on here is how, like, this urban heat island effect, because we live in cities, and the fact that we really need to change our infrastructure to deal with these new heat waves. And a New York City lawmaker posted this map yesterday that was really striking to me, that showed where in the city things were hotter and things got cooler, and it was very much correlated with the amount of tree cover. So in Central Park and Riverside Park and all of these parks, it was much cooler than average. And then in areas like Bushwick or Williamsburg, where I live, where there's materials that absorb the heat, it's much hotter than average. And this also disproportionately affects low-income neighborhoods. If you go to those areas in the city, you will often find that they have much less tree cover than, the more wealthy areas, which are, the typical way to describe it is the leafy suburb.
Right.
So that helps them out. It makes it much cooler and makes things a lot less dangerous. President Biden yesterday directed the U.S. Forest Service to award more than $1 billion in grants to help cities plant trees. And while obviously that's not going to solve the entire problem, I do think, like, trees and vegetation and just changing our infrastructure to deal with these increased heat waves will help out.
100%. It is funny how it's 2023 and like the technology that's going to save us is just like, what if we planted more trees, which is awesome. I love it.
One final thing I want to talk about is how this is affecting kind of business and industry. And one particular industry that these heat waves is disrupting, and it did not need any more disrupting because it's already pretty chaotic, is aviation and the airline industry. People are working outside there, so they need more breaks. Planes need to be lighter when the air is warmer. And so maybe it's not as intense as an ice storm for getting a plane out of the air, but it is causing all major disruptions. And then Delta is under investigation. Did you hear this story last week? Because it's really hard to kind of keep a plane's temperature while it's idling on the tarmac and it's off of the cooling center at the gate. So in Las Vegas, where it was 110 degrees, there was a plane full of passengers that was just sitting on the tarmac for 3 to 4 hours without AC, and they did not take them off the plane. And so this caused a huge uproar among regulators and transportation department saying, what the hell just happened here? You can't leave people on the plane. So Delta right now is under investigation for kind of not, doing enough for passengers. And that comes from a long list of, air passenger harm that has been happening.
Hey, thanks for watching. And if you want more Morning Brew Daily, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also check out the rest of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
New episodes drop at 7 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And you can email us at morningbrewdaily@morningbrew.com.